It's Neal King here with Neal. Some know me. And I'm very excited to be bringing the improv, um, therapeutic improv, to the summit, the Kids Summit this summer. It's on August 2nd and 3rd. I believe I'm on the 3rd. That's going to be fantastic. Always is. People have a lot of great takeaways from it. And I'm sharing a little bit about comedy improv therapy or improvisational therapy. And at the seminar and the workshop, you're going to have immediate takeaways right there. You're going to be able to pretty much leave with a pack of improv games specifically designed for groups, as well as how I've used them for sessions with families with children, teens, and that's pretty exciting. I'm going to give you some examples here in this that are part of the workshop, some videos on the PowerPoint to give you some examples. And when we talk about improv in general, I'm real motivated after about 4 or 5 years ago. Dan Siegel was a keynote speaker at one of these big workshops, and he had mentioned there that he believes that improv therapy will be in every office within 5 to 10 years. And that was 5 years ago. And now, look, we're talking about it to more people, more therapists, more people to understand the benefits of using comedy improv therapy. So some of the uh, research, all the research kind of indicates, which is that the exposure part is going to have people just be managing their anxiety much better. And I look at it as that it is in vivo exposure. And because it's direct, you're with the people, you're with the children, it's you can create that attunement with them. And there's sort of nothing more powerful than when you can witness what I call like the SAS. It's a shared awkward situation, because when you think about anxiety, the underlying of tenet of much anxiety, social anxiety specific, is I'm not good enough as I am. I'm going to say something ridiculous. People are going to laugh at me. And here, that's exactly what's going to happen. But as one of the things that you learn in the workshop is you're that bridge between getting them to realize there's nothing going on. We're just having fun. Once they realize the fun component, which the play component is there. And as we know from play therapy, that once you're playing, once you're having fun, different parts of your brain are opening up, and you're less concerned about yourself. The and to get to this, I think that I'd mentioned at the end of this, you're going to have an all access pass. It's going to be on your screen. So that's going to be exciting. A couple of tenets of, and I mentioned tenets a lot. I don't know why, but one of the 4 important parts of running improv in a group situation is the cohesion, play, exposure, and humor. But you don't have to be funny. Many people feel that doing improv, you have to be funny. So they shy away. Like, I'm not funny. I don't know what to say. And that's the beauty of it. The funny, the comedy, the awkwardness that's celebrated is when you don't know what you're going to say and you just follow the rules of improv. And many people have already had basic improv. They understand that it might be just say yes, agree, and build. And I use the definition of improv is not knowing what you're going to say and do next, but being perfectly okay with that. Not knowing what you're going to say and do next, but being perfectly okay with that. Think about how that feels to someone with social anxiety. And the reports that I've gotten back when I worked in an agency was fantastic, because I can get immediate feedback from the referring therapist. Are like, wow, this person's really coming out of their shell. And that's so wonderful to watch as as the facilitator, as the therapist, to watch week by week how this cohesiveness within what was once like, there's no way I'm going to say anything, to watch people blossom because you're sharing that with everyone else. Now, it's hard for the therapist, which is what hopefully I'll be able to portray, able to help others with, is to help you align that attunement so that you have to be very aware of yourself to not autocorrect, oh, don't do that. There's never anything about no, right? Or about, oh, you're supposed to do that, because that's what many people, children and adults, have grown up hearing. That's wrong, which the judgment part is like, I shouldn't have said anything. So I want to show you some very basic clips of, first, I'm going to use what I have is called circle attunement, and that's going to be right here. And I use this circle. We do a lot of circle work. This particular example here is just how basic, like just getting in a circle and being attuned, right? This is called attune and change, and just changing positions. And if you've worked with people with high anxiety, then you'll know how it's just making eye contact is hard. So we're just going to show you just for a few seconds here what this kind of looks like. We're gonna excellent. First person you see that's helping you out, the eye contact. So you see first person you see that's giving you eye contact, right? So that part of making the eye contact, helping someone else. So now the person that thought they were in the lower status, and that's something you're going to learn too, how to use status games to increase people's confidence in themselves, they're helping someone else out. So when they realize like, oh, I'm being helped, others are being helped, and everyone is messing up. So another example that I want to show, and then we'll talk a little bit about it, I only have a few minutes here, is how I use these games with families as well. So with children and families, here's a specific example, just in a case that I use a 7-sentence story structure. So I use 7-sentence story structure. It's just these 7 sentences in a specific order. And one of the techniques that I developed with this, using it over years in practice, is what I call going from the broad to the narrow. So we select topics that are fun and silly, and after that, you select some pleasant topic, like, oh, this is a story about the last time you went to a birthday party, something that you know about the child. And then it's like, oh, here's a story about so-and-so that you start off, and they have to do that in this story form. So, and again, I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg here. So I'm going to play that for you. And that is on this. They don't usually have PowerPoints in this thing, but we did it. So here is 7-sentence story structure with a family situation. Okay, here's the story, 7-sentence story structure, and I'm going to start it off. Once upon a time, Lila wanted to stay up and read her books.
And every day she would beg and plead to stay up and read her books.
Until one day, Mom had enough and she had to say something.
And because of that, I got in trouble.
And because of that, I said, whatever Mom doesn't know won't hurt her.
Until finally, Mom figured out what those two were up to.
And from that day,
I cut off right at the end, didn't know I was going to cut off, but I did want to bring before we end a little bit that there is a physical component as well. And because of being very conscientious of the body, of the movements, and that's part of the circle attunement, but there's a game called What Are You Doing? Where you have to start moving your body, and it's in 2 phases, the game. So the first one is real silly, it's fun, but then we're aware of the other people around us moving their bodies. So I'm just gonna show you that one. And that here is, okay. This game is called What Are You Doing? So here, this game is called What Are You Doing? I'm gonna start off.
What are you doing?
I'm fishing.
What are you doing?
Sleeping.
What are you doing? Running.
What are you doing?
Stuff. That's not.
What are you doing?
Taking an MRI?
What are you doing?
I'm dying of embarrassment.
What are you doing?
Eating.
What are you doing? Exploring the woods.
What are you doing?
Epidemiology.
What are you doing?
Dancing.
What are you doing?
I am trying to get a tick off of my pet flea.
What are you doing?
So,
Painting my nails.
oh, let me turn that off. Okay. So we can see that even when someone is maybe stuck with anything to do or say, they move their bodies around, and the others are supportive of that. And again, I'm giving you just a quick blanket of everything. So one of the, I guess, really cool takeaways from having been in the improv world is, and I never said who I was. Well, I'm Neal King, but I've been doing improv for, I don't know, it looks like 20, 30 years. And one takeaway that I've picked up is, it's not mine, is a thing called ouch, oops. Ouch, oops. And I've used it in relationships, in communication with parents and kids. And it's a simple method of, if anything's offensive, whether it's an improv, whether it's in a session, whether it's in communication in the house, the person says, ouch, they were offended in any which way, and the other person simply says, oops, because their intention was not to do that. So that's something fun you can practice today in your own house, with your friends, in your sessions, to teach when you're communicating. If someone's offended, ouch, and the other person says, oops, and then we continue. Alrighty, so this is Neal King. I hope to see you on August 3rd, and August 2nd and 3rd is the 4th annual Kids Summit. And don't forget to get your all access pass. You can, I think you can just scan to register now, which is fantastic. Use the code KID100, KID100, and you get $100 off. Alrighty, this is Neal King. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Hope to see you soon.